losing my faith today.
I'm falling off the edge today.
I am just a man, not superhuman.
I'm not superhuman.
Welcome to downtown Seoul for the finals of SSL Premier Season 2. I am Valdez. With me is Wolf tonight, bringing you Dark versus Stats, a PvC best of 7 to crown our champion of 2017 here at the end. Wolf, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. This is going to be Dark's third SSL Finals. He's looking to get his second title. He was never able to accomplish it. Stats, of course, defeated by Dark in another finals. This will be the second time they face each other in SSL. So a lot of story between these two that we're going to lay out throughout this best of 7. Dark definitely coming in the favorite right now in terms of the matchup, but this could be an upset for Stats for sure.
It definitely could be. Lots of predictions, very close. A lot of 4-2s, 4-3s, usually in Dark's favor, as you're saying, but this is definitely Stats' opportunity to really seal 2017 as a big year for him. He already did win GSL. He's looking for an SSL title. He's looking for more going into BlizzCon as the first place in the WCS standings in the points. Dark, he wants to win this one to kind of shore up his 2017, and we'll see how he's going to do. Let's meet our players to start off the finals tonight.
어쩔 수가 없거든요. 막고 막아야 되거든요. 안전에 빠지는 그런 경우.
Trying not to lose the fire burning in my eyes. In a mad world, I'm falling in a little lost to go, trying to start again.
새롭게 시대를 엽니다. 역시 박영우입니다. 이제 가장 반가워스럽게 우승컵을 들어올립니다. 승자는 박영우입니다.
We are back here on stage. Stats facing Dark in the big light. Dark not even looking at him in the eye, looking only at what seems to be the trophy that is on stage, or perhaps that is just a light. But either way.
This is going to be a great finals. I feel like everyone's got their eyes on Dark right now. He's shown so much flexibility in this matchup right now. I think Stats is certainly going to have to innovate tonight in order to take this title. He has accepted the challenge of defeating this player now who crushed the Protoss Gauntlet on his way to this grand finals. We're going to do an opening interview with these two players to see if they have anything to say to each other and to the fans before we start this best of 7. Look at that translated for you guys. Announcing Stats. Debuted 2009, this player. He's been playing the game for 8 years.
He's been around for so long. Another player that did join us early on in StarCraft 2 is Dark, his opponent on the right.
The massive favorite tonight, the fan favorite as well, for wants this guy to take a second title, to defeat Stats again, as he did in 2016 in Season 1 of the SSL. So we're going to jump into that interview now, starting with Stats.
It has been a month since we've last seen you play here at the Nexon Arena. What have you been up to? He says, first of all, I got plenty of rest because I was playing every single week up until now.
일단 마음에 드시나요? 일단 올라올 거라고 예상을 했어요.
Do you like your finals opponent? The fact that you have to go up against Dark instead of, say, Deer or Classic. He said, I really wanted Dark to advance to the finals because I thought it would make a more entertaining finals matchup. Also, I'm still waiting for my revenge that I have to get over Dark. So I feel extremely prepared coming into this one.
맞습니까?
사실 도호 형이 올랐으면 했어요. 사실 도호 형이 올랐으면
He
했는데.
said, to be honest, I actually did want Classic to come up.
네.
But Dark is a fantastic player, and he has improved on his way up here.
그림같이 짜준 진짜 복수해라라고 만든 오늘이 바로 이 결승전인데 그런 만큼 뭔가 각오가 남다를 것 같거든요.
This final stage is a perfect place for Stats to get that revenge over Dark.
오늘이 만약에 우승할 그날이라면 조금 더 강력한 그런 메시지를 팬 여러분들에게 본인을 응원해 주시는 분들에게 좀 보여줘야 되지 않을까 좀 이런 생각이 듭니다.
And Stats, what are some strong words that you can say to your fans?
많이 올라왔는데 그 수많은 결승전 중에서 진짜 오늘 진짜 엄청 노력 많이 했거든요.
He says he's been to a lot of finals, but specifically for this one, I have prepared extremely hard. So much preparation coming into this finals, and I will show you in this best of 7.
노력했다는 정도가 아니라 진짜 엄청 정말 많이 노력했습니다라고 얘기를 했습니다.
So,
네.
Stats really emphasized his preparation for this series. How do you feel about his words about that?
대엽이 형이 진짜 열심히 한다. 그 심지어 제 토스 연습 상대도 가져가가지고 개념을 물어보시더라고요.
I heard that a lot during my preparation about how much Stats has been preparing for this match tonight. In fact, he's even taken my Protoss practice partners away from me.
일단은 플레이오프 1, 2라운드를 거치면서
But I will make sure this is a repeat of what happened 1 year ago in the 2016 finals.
그리고 김도우, 그리고 김대엽. 지금 여기 있는 김대엽 선수가 그 두 명의 선수들과 다른 게 있다면 뭐가 있을까요?
확실히 좀 경험이 많으시다 보니까.
So, what makes Stats different from Deer and Classic in terms of his Protoss play?
근데 뭐 토스는 다 거기서 거기라고 생각하기 때문에 똑같을 것 같아요 결과는.
네, 정말.
Honestly, I think Stats is a little bit more solid overall, a more thorough player. But at the end of the day, every Protoss is the same to me.
8, 9라운드에 패배하면서 거의 반포기 상태였잖아요. 이시영 선수가 2대0으로 지면서 아, 이거 끝났구나. 아, 그런 생각을 하기도 그런 생각을 할 수도 있었는데 이시영 선수가 2대0으로
You did lose in round 8 and in round 9 of regular season. It was Classic's victory that sent you to playoffs.
선수들 다 만나지 않았는데 아, 이거 나 우승 각이다. 뭐 이런 생각이 드셨는지.
Did you ever feel like, even though you were having a hard time there at the end, that you were surely going to win the season?
네, 알겠습니다. 김대현 선수처럼 그러면
All he has to say is thank you, Classic, because Classic sent me here, and Classic also helped me prepare for this finals.
한번 기대해 보도록 하겠습니다. 우리 박영우 선수의 오늘 결승전에 임하는 소감.
Unclear if that means in his lead-up or if he means in private. So final words for the fans here. It's been a long time since I played against fans like this, and it's been a while since I played in a final, so I'll make sure that tonight really counts.
결승 대진이 1년 만에 같은 무대에서 같은 리그에서 또 한 번 나왔습니다.
So he says this is the same matchup, the same stage. And these two are going to face off against each other in the SSL finals.
결승 대진도 김대엽과 박영우 선수입니다. 과연 1년 만에 결과는 달라질 수 있을지 저와 함께 이 흥미진진한
Here we go, guys. We have introduced both our players. We have heard words from both of them. Let us start our finals here with some cheers from the crowd as Daehyun begins to hype everyone up. The lights have gone off, and the fun is about to begin. It's a big smile on Stats' face. I really hope that his preparation comes in tonight with everything that he has said. And here we go. Fly better fly. Jin Air. And here we go. The Dare SSL Premiere Season 2 is going to begin right now.
여러분의 함성과 함께 시작하겠습니다.
SSL이 제가 작년에 맨 처음으로 결승 무대를 밟게 해준 소중한 무대이고, 다만 거기서 우승을 하지 못했는데
될 수가 없습니다. 정말 미칠 듯한 공격 싸움입니다.
딱히 위기가 느껴지지 않을 정도로 좀 안정적으로 시즌을 치렀던 것 같아요.
김대엽은 양쪽 다 이겨버리는데요.
집중감 많은데요. 위아래 다 뚫었는데요, 김대엽.
SSL에서 한번 우승해 보고 싶은 게 이번 시즌 목표인데.
일벌레 죽는 거 안 아파요 지금. 저글링만 지키면 됩니다. 잘 나갔습니다.
네. 하지만 강민수가 경기를 끝낼 수 있는 절호의 찬스를 맞이했습니다.
네. 이게 가나요?
지난 시즌도 사실 전승을 목표로 잡았다가 좀 많이 아쉬운 모습을 많이 보여드렸는데,
지난 시즌 박영호 선수가 본인의 스스로의 성적에 좀 자존심이 상했었나 봅니다. 그렇죠. 이 악물고 연습한 흔적이 보이네요. 경기가 너무 깔끔해요. 뚫렸는데요 이거.
건설로만 이미 22개입니다.
시간 계속 들어가죠.
이번 시즌은 한 경기 한 경기 좀 즐기자는 생각으로 임하고 있어요.
SSL 내에서 치러지는 두 선수의 네 번째 맞대결. 과연 이번에도 승자는 박명우 선수가 될지, 아니면 김대엽 선수가 큰 산을 넘어설 수 있을지, 오늘의 마지막 경기를 통해 확인해 보시죠.
북강기. 이거 난리 났는데 다 죽었는데요.
자, 다시 먹자.
다 녹아요.
이렇게 큰 장기전을 하고
네.
38분 게임을 하고 나서 마이크로 컨트롤이 살아있네요. 이 장면은 김대엽의 1위 등극을 확정짓는 장면입니다.
네. 그런 경기를 하고 나서 김대엽 선수의 집중력이 더 올라간 것 같아요.
그러니까요.
네.
비록 오늘 이겼긴 했지만은 완전 극복했다고는 말할 수 없을 것 같고.
네.
확실히 가장 마지막 경기가 좀 많이 부담됐던 것 같아요. 걸려있는 것도 많고.
네, 백동준의 칼날은 박영우의 후반 큰 그림을 허용하지 않고 있습니다. 지금 실수가 많이 나와요. 박영우 선수. 강민수의 고춧가루가 박영우의 눈을 찌릅니다.
그렇습니다. 눈을 뜰 수가 없는 박영호에 들어가는데요. 박영호의 마지막 경기를 강민수가 승리하면서 박영호가 굉장히 어려운 운명에 놓였습니다.
마지막 한 자리 싸움이 됐습니다. 2대0으로 지지만 않으면 이시영 선수가 올라갑니다.
잡는데요.
뺏어야 되지 않나요, 이시영? 가비가 없는 럭키네요. 어떻게 할 수가 없네요, 이거는.
네, 방법이 없습니다. 대화가 안 돼요.
도호 형이 저를 좀 울려보내 주셔가지고 되게 기뻤어요.
드디어 플레이오프 1라운드가 시작이 됐습니다.
토스가 굉장히 강세를 보이고 있는 가운데 박용호 선수가 과연 드라마틱한 그런 시나리오를 써내려갈 수 있을지,
작은 차이로 큰 결과를 내려는 그 작은 변칙들이 박영우 선수가 그에 적응하고 있습니다. 감염구덩이에서 나오는 투베이스 군수? 지금 머리가 멍해질 것 같습니다. 백동준 선수. 이 상황에서 어떤 유닛을 뽑고 어떤 식으로 대처해야 될지 판단이 들리만무합니다. 첫 번째 도장은 깨지겠네요.
엄청난 양의 군단 숙주를 보유하면서 그런 전술로 박영호 선수가,
사실 동준이 형이 가장 까다로울 거라 생각하고 있었고, 확실히 오늘 좀 해보니까 확실히 좀 까다로우시더라고요. 그래서 좀 큰 산은 넘었고, 이제 도호 형은 이제 가볍게 이기고, 대엽이 형과 이제 결승전에서 하는 상상만 하고 있습니다.
확실히 김도우 조급하네요. 앞마당 쪽에 어떻게든지 지원시키고 싶다라는 생각에 김도우 병력 오면 병력 분산 김도우.
네, 예언자도 하나하나씩 떨어지고요.
지상은 다 쓸립니다. 식충 오면 지상은 다 쓸립니다. 왕전사 싸움은 진짜 잘하고 있어요.
거신 아케이드, 거신.
자, 이거 추가 소환 안 되나요? 추가 소환 쿨타임.
자, 아케이드 하고 있는데 지금 저글링 많이 살았습니다.
1%만 잡았어요. 진짜 잘 막았습니다. 네,
일꾼 대박나요? 22킬이요.
밀리겠는데요, 김도우.
자, 무너지나요, 김도우.
결승으로 가는 길이 열립니다.
그렇습니다.
진짜 말 그대로 돈대 제약인데요, 박영우.
네.
김도우를 포함한 다른 토스들이 살려놓은 박영우가 이제는 자신의 결승 재물이었던 김대엽을 잡기 위해 결승까지 올라갔네요.
영호가 경기한 걸 보니까 되게 잘하더라고요. 그래서 걱정은 되긴 되는데 또 저 나름대로 준비 잘해서 잘 풀어나가야지.
제가 이렇게 이 자리까지 오게 된 시발점이 이제 대엽이 형이었기 때문에 아무래도 좀 대엽이 형하고 경기를 하면 좋은 기억들이 더 많은 것 같아요. 그래서 아마 이번에도 쉽게 이기고 기세를 타서 이제 블리츠콘까지 갈 수 있을 것 같아요.
이번에 정말 우연찮게 첫 번째 저한테 준우승을 안겨준 명우를 만났잖아요. 이번에 명우한테 시원하게 복수하고 우승 트로피 들어올리겠습니다. 명우 형 작년하고는 많이 달라졌다는 걸 보여줄게요.
대엽이 형 형은 참 좋은 형이에요. 항상 이렇게 동생을 챙겨주시잖아요. 이번에도 감사해요, 형.
So that really sets the stage jumping into this finals, Dark versus Stats. It's nice guy, nice young older brother versus kind of the cocky, you know, laid back, confident, dark kind of bad guy, if you will, amongst the StarCraft players.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about here, right? A lot of people would say, how can you say that Stats is the underdog going into this series, given he had the better record? He was the winner of their regular season match. He waited in the finals as Dark had to go through the gauntlet. But I feel like Dark showed more depth in this matchup, in his play, against two different pro opponents that Stats has shown in this matchup, reverse-wise, all year long in this gauntlet. So, I mean, it's pretty insane that the level of strategy, the depth of strategy we've seen from Dark is so immense, and he's hardly repeating strategies. I think he's going to show us strategies tonight that we didn't even see in that gauntlet lead up to this finals.
Yeah, he's got so many in his bag of tricks, and that is part of what makes him such a strong Zerg opponent against Protoss. And we can go over the overview here, guys. It is the return match of the SSL 2016 Season 1 Finals, where Dark did take that 4-2. This is the last Protoss. Dark did take out Deer, who he thought would be the hardest opponent. Then he took out Classic with the same score of 4-2. And Classic and Stats, we've all kind of said it before, are similar Protoss players, whereas Deer is more tricky. Maybe we'll see another 4-2 tonight. I know that's your prediction.
That's my prediction, and you know, Deer went up 2-0. Dark was able to figure out his styles and eventually come ahead in that series in our first playoff round. But it's insane because Dark even admitted, he said, the depth of play from Deer actually is what gives me the most trouble. It wasn't just the Oracle builds he was using, but the other strategies he brought to the table as well. He's clearly shown he can deal with the Oracle builds, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot of that from Stats tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really like to mix it up too much in the matchup. We see a lot of Stargate first into Transition, eventual Storm, Archons, Immortals, all that good stuff. But we can go over Stats' records so far, even going back to 2015 and SSL, round of 4, round of 16 that one time in Season 3, but so many other consistent wins.
It's incredible that these guys have been in so many different SSLs, you know, essentially being involved in every single one in terms of Premier. This is their 7th season each. This is basically SSL 7 that we are commentating the end of right now. So basically the challenge for Duvoltas, the Italian term for two-time, is what he's looking for here. No one has ever attained it in SSL. Dark has played the most finals at 3. And here are our map drafts. This is going to be a great one. Remember, Stats gets Newkirk Precinct, and it essentially gives him 2 map picks because of how the draft works. Because Dark had to go through the gauntlet, he is going to have to play Newkirk and Abyssal Reef right at the start.
Couple of really good maps for Stats. He's undefeated in Newkirk Precinct, and he is 6-2 in Abyssal Reef. His overall score on all the maps that he's played have been good. I mean, he did get in first place, and he has been waiting here in the finals. But again, the way the map draft does work does mean that maps 3 and 4 are going to be the top 2 that Dark did pick, and those happen to be towards the bottom for Stats. So definitely will be a bit of a swing. It's similar to what we saw for Dark versus Deer.
That's right. That advantage in map choice is so huge, and it's happened to cause Dark map losses in the playoffs leading up to this, going through that gauntlet. So now I think Stats needs to get momentum. Perhaps he can use his standard builds on these maps he feels he's favored on. But as the series goes deeper and Dark starts to bring his Burrowed Roach attack timings, these Swarmos timings, the fast Broodlords, Stats is going to have to adapt on the fly. If he tries to just make this an Oracle series, I don't think he's going to find the success he's looking for.
Yeah, I think he does have to throw it in a couple of times, you know, get aggressive with that. Dark has shown that he's not invincible against those kinds of strategies. They are still very strong, even if you don't kill your Zerg opponent, you can do a ton of damage if they're not prepared for it. Dark has shown that he's pretty good against it, but maybe Stats can catch him off guard on a couple of the maps. And he said he has so much preparation. I want to see some new builds out of Stats too, not just the norm here for this Protoss player.
Absolutely, and if you're just looking at this, this best of 7, it's going to have its own meta as well. When you go deep in a longer series like this, longer than a best of 5, and you get to a best of 7, those last few games that don't exist in the best of 3 or exist in the best of 5, or when if you keep doing the same thing, by the end of it, your opponent will know how to counter. It will be so well versed on those timings.
That definitely will be, and it's going to be interesting for Dark too, because as we do get later on in the draft, we see, let me see over here, we got Frost and Whirlwind right in a row. Whirlwind map 5, Frost map 6, and Newkirk Precinct was the other map, where Dark really likes to get aggressive. He's shown it before. He says, I don't really like Whirlwind. I like to do roach timings, and I like to get aggressive. So those are going to be the big maps where, okay, we've gone past Stats' stage. We've gone past Dark's stage. Now we jump into 2 4-player maps in a row. Is Dark going to go off the wall nuts with his crazy aggressive builds, or is he going to mix it up? Because I'm sure Stats knows about that tendency for Dark as well.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I think that this is going to be a big test for Stats to mix up his own aggression along with defensive play when he thinks Dark is going to be aggressive, to kind of counteract that, get that 3rd base up fast, get the 4th base up, and then trying to do some damage before we see Dark make that Broodlord transition we've seen him win against Classic with when he was on the defensive in regular season. But I feel like Dark has shown he can deal with any type of build. He's shown more different types of builds in this tournament, not even just in this matchup, but just in general. His Corruptor play against Terran, bringing in the Corruptors against Protoss as well, quite a bit to kill the buildings, his Roach play, Swarm Host play. Like, this guy has so many builds that it's difficult to prepare for this matchup if you're Stats.
Yeah, it's part of the reason why he's so good, right? And that's part of the reason why we predict him to come in, because just looking at their forums and looking at the amount of builds that they have and their styles, it seems like, in a way, Dark counters this style, because if you're just too predictable, we said this before, Dark really takes advantage of you. He can get aggressive, he can get into your head. We even saw like a replay of Classic putting down a pylon at the wrong location. That was after Dark has already gotten into his head and into his mind, and Classic was beginning to get tilted at that moment in time. Stats needs to play a very calm, cool, collected game against this Zerg player, because he's definitely a pretty cocky guy, and he's not scared to talk some trash, even in the lobby chat before the game starts.
Oh, certainly not. Now, let's take a look at Stats. Remember, he was winner of regular season, which led him to this grand final. He was directly seeded here, did not have to play the playoffs. So he beat Dark 2-1. Felt like it was one of his most uncomfortable series, one of his only series he did not take with a 2-0 as well. So a tough series for him, one that he said was very memorable, stuck out to him. And you could tell by his face right now, we haven't been observing PC today, but I imagine there's definitely some trash talk coming through. And he is the more experienced player. He is the more successful player this year, despite the fact that Dark comes in as runner-up from BlizzCon, has definitely gotten very far in many tournaments this year, top 4 GSL. We didn't mention the fact that this is kind of the reverse GSL finals. These are the 2 losers of the GSL semifinals now facing off against each other. So it's kind of like this alternate reality GSL finals in a way. What would have happened if these 2 defeated SOS and, of course, Innovation?
Yeah, a lot of people were expecting Stats to come ahead of SOS in that PvZ. I mean, or PvP rather. I know SOS is a strong opponent, but you know, we could have had Stats go up there. Dark was 1 game away from taking out Innovation in the semifinals, and so it really adds to that alternate universe effect where it's like these guys, both of them, were extremely close of getting into that finals, but here they are in our universe in SSL going head-to-head in the best of 7.
That's right. This is going to be a great series. Do, in fact, let people know this is going on right now, guys. Stats looking for his first SSL Dark, looking for to be the first player to get a 2 SSL trophy title. That Italian we had earlier, I forgot what Spo was putting it in, but it's going to be his opportunity now to win that best of 7, do what he failed to do against Solar in 2016 Season 3 to take that 2nd title.
You can tell he wants it so badly, so does Stats. We're going to be jumping into game number 1 on Newkirk Precinct right away, guys, so put your pants on. We're getting into this.
그로부터 1년.
역사는 되풀이 된다.
Game number 1 begins as we fly better fly onto Newkirk Precinct for game number 1. Down in the bottom right, the yellow Protoss. This is Splice Stats.
That's right. Down to the bottom left, the currently teamless, formerly SKT Dark will spawn in purple. Looking for that elusive second SSL title. He's never made a GSL. This year was his first round of 4 in GSL. Could have been in both finals. In fact, this could have been the GSL finals as well. As we mentioned, it is the round of 4 losers who face off in the SSL finals, but it just goes to show how dominant these two players are here in 2017.
It's pretty ridiculous. I know people, including us, were talking about Dark, how he's taken a small step back coming into 2017, but he has definitely been around in all the different tournaments. I mean, making round of 4 of GSL and getting 1 game away from taking out Innovation, the best player in the world currently. That's no bad feat. People call this guy the best Zerg in the world for a reason. He's definitely a huge opponent for Stats and the favorite even coming into this one in our
certainly.
minds.
And I think that most Korean analysts agree, not all Western analysts feel the same, given Stats' great run through regular season, on top of the fact that he had a great win rate in this matchup and won the regular season matchup against Dark. However, Dark didn't impress us in regular season, and when we talk about this grand finals, what's really impressive is the fact that while also preparing for the round of 8 in the GSL, while preparing for that round of 4 match in a different matchup against Innovation, he was still able to bring diversity in this matchup specifically on 2 different best of 5 match days. And now that we head into this, or best of 7, excuse me, and now that we head into this, I mean, it's very much a pretty intense story for Stats after watching what Dark did to both Deer and Classic in so many different play styles. It's going to be a terrifying moment to step into the booth now, coming in as the favorite in terms of regular season, yes, but in this matchup, I think you have to say no.
I wonder who Stats has been practicing with. You know, former KT, they didn't always have the strongest Zerg lineup, if you remember. It was a lot of Terrans, a lot of Protosses, including Stats, Zest. In terms of Terrans,
well, we had Flash, I suppose.
Flash, yeah.
You could say.
He was decently strong. You know, he wasn't the Flash of Brood War, but he was a good Terran guy to have on their back line. But definitely a lot of strong Protosses for sure. But I wonder who he's practicing with. Is he calling up Sue, Dark's old teammate, and saying, hey, you're like number 1, number 2 Zerg in the world. Would you like to help me out? Maybe he has loyalty towards Dark. It's little things like that we can't possibly know.
In the post-Kespa era, it's certainly much harder, right? And, you know, Leenock not having the most storied 2017, one of those KT Zergs. Losira, don't get me started. So, you know, as much as those players were famed back in the early parts of StarCraft 2, it definitely faded to obscurity at this point in time. Leenock losing to Jokji, another Terran we mentioned earlier, of course, in the GSL finals, but that was a long time ago. Is this going to be a Ling drop? Drop Overlord is scouted here. Overlord speed finishes. If he micros his probes correctly, this shouldn't do too much. In fact, he's going to cancel. But this is more of an aggressive timing here, it looks like.
He's going pretty hard on this one. Lots of Lings early on. He's on 19 workers right now. It's only Lings.
This is basically an all-in.
Yeah, this is going to require a lot of drop Overlords too, and you saw Stats was ready, he pulled his probes, but is he going to be ready for the follow-up? Here we go.
Okay, he needs to react to this very quickly. Probes will have to be microed. The Adept needs to be behind the probe wall here. He's going to go ahead and hit the natural. Cybernetics Core is just nearly finished with that Warp Gate research. That's so important. Is queuing up an Immortal. Good overcharge here at the last second. He's losing mining, but remember, Dark does not have very many workers at home.
Yeah, he's just rallying them over, and he's dropping more and more. Queen's coming in. It's a Ling Queen all in on 19 drones.
And this is what we expected from Dark. Not what you would want to see as a Protoss, not what you would expect to see.
But look at how it's going so far. I mean, immense fantastic control from Stats at the natural. Doesn't take much damage. He's taking a lot more damage in the main where the Queens are. Kind of worried about the follow-up of Lings once they start helping out against those probes in the main.
Warp gate research being done is so huge right now. He might just have to sacrifice the main here.
There's no probe in the main. He can't overcharge, and he drops the Queens right on in. He's trying to target down that Mothership core.
Oh, he's going for it. That's so huge if he gets it. Looks like it will survive for now. Look at that. Queen is so in the red. Needs to make sure he micros well here to try to snipe that Mothership. Rest of these probes, or sorry, Zerglings are locked out. He's going to send them over here to the solo drop Overlord. We'll need to bring more over. But I think that this is going to eventually be held for Stats here. The Queen's too low.
They're too low. They don't have energy. That Overlord is going to be sniped. The Queens will go down. And I was expecting an aggressive build from Dark on this map. He does it so often. This is a bit of a new one, right? Link Queen, we've seen it before in the past, but not too much out of Dark. And he brings it in now, and Stats holds it off with relative flying colors.
Yeah, this was a build that we saw in the past when Drop Overlords were first changed to be able to be individually morphed in with the Evolution Chamber. That's when we saw builds like this occur. Well, we never really saw one quite like this. Now Stats has a 16-worker lead despite losing several probes during the attack. He has a tech advantage. He's able to research charge. Hell, he's got a Warp Prism on the way. And these Lings can't break into the main anymore. Getting into the main by Drop Overlord is going to be nigh impossible. I don't even think he's considering it. He's trying to make a transition, but a great position now for Stats.
He can't make it in the front. I think he's trying to draw Stats' attention towards the front, but he will have another hit squad here. But there's already 4 Stalkers in position. He sees them, and so does Stats, kind of eyeing each other in the sky. And Dark, he's got to face the music eventually, right? You can't force this.
Can't force it. Oh, the weakest one is in the wrong spot. It's the closest to the Stalker range. So unfortunate for Dark that happened. Didn't individually micro that one. And now with 4 gateways coming up and the research of the glaives here, the resonating glaives for the Adepts, looks like he canceled charge, I believe. He should be able to harass, lead this into a further tempo advantage, and hit a timing that Dark just simply will not be able to defend.
Look at the supplies right now. This is what it looks like when an all-in fails at this point, especially one that hits this early. 19 drones for that long, and he made that many Zerglings. What are 5-6 Roaches going to do against this Immortal that will have the Warp Prism to micro in and out of? It looks like lights out already, and a game number 1 victory for Stats.
Feels that way. Sentry's here with energy to help force field off these Lings as well. Needs to do so, in fact. Not the best reaction time. Will lose 1 Sentry, and the Immortal is being targeted. But still, there's just too many units here, and with the glaives, despite the near surround there, it's not good enough, and the damage output is too high.
Yeah. Already a sinking feeling in the hearts of Dark fans, as even us predicting him to come in here and do very well. He starts off with an aggressive build like I was expecting, but did not go the way that he wanted. This is all Stats' game so far.
And it was such a great defense, such great reaction by Stats. He had no idea it was coming. It was unscouted. It was well executed too, mind you. But his crisis management was too good. His control of his probes, pulling them at the right times, getting those Adepts out, adding the additional gateways, and this is just going to be, it looks like, the final nail in Dark's coffin here for game number 1. He just doesn't have the resources to build an army to defend this. As while he was trading Lings, Stats was making a larger army and had the better economy. This should be it.
Yep, that's going to do it. The Shade coming in onto the ramp. A measly number of Roaches and even drones off the line to try to hold this one. But the lights are out already. It's a blackout here in Dark City, as Stats is going to come in here and take out the Zerg player. Dark, he doesn't want to accept it just yet. GG comes down finally as Stats wins game number 1.
There you have it. Stats with great control, great defense of just one of Dark's many tricks we will see in this series. Not a shocker that on a map that Stats had so much success on, he's 4-0 on the map, now make that 5-0, that Dark would want to bring in an all-in, try to end the game early. But at the same time, Stats is known for his defensive play against all-ins. I feel like back in the Pro League era, both Stats and Trap were 2 of the players which, like, you don't want to all-in this guy probably. Yeah. He'll probably defend almost anything, but it was still well executed from Dark, but it didn't work because his control was so good.
Yeah, I mean, Stats, it's like he knew it was coming. He's like, oh yeah, I had my practice partners do this to me 20 times. Okay, now I pull my probes, I get them away, you know, wait for the mothership core to come out, I overcharge, fight with the probes, move them back. The control was all pristine, right? I think that's going to be a really disconcerting thing for Dark coming in, and he's like, okay, I got this good all-in prepared, let's see if it works out, and then Stats is just like, what the hell, man? This is a finals. What build was that?
Yeah, and it was also really well done, the way he controlled against the queens, like when he targeted, which queen he targeted, the ones with the more energy, so they couldn't be transfused with the queens that had the less energy. Yeah. His control against the Overlord there, that final snipe. His positioning of his Stalker, blind there to see potential drop Overlords coming in, because he was going for a Twilight Council build, so wanted to at least protect that information away from Dark.
Yeah, so guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back in game number 2.